It is Matt Mosley's show on the YouTube version. Well, we're all over Twitter. We're everywhere you could possibly find a device. We're happy to have you. It's been a crazy weekend. Got the big news, and I think the news that really frustrated a lot of folks the other day. We, of course, reacted to it Friday with President Livingstone sending out remarks that in a letter that of the reasons and why they were hanging on to Dave Aranda. Then the Bears were able to go out Saturday after Scotty did a nice pregame show over there. Of course, you can see a lot of our work on KWTX in town, and then the Green and Gold pregame show that we've done all season. Some strong material, and then the Baylor goes out and they did what they do. They got blown off the field 41-17. Good at the half, up 17-14. Never scored again. Never really did much of note. I think there was a pick six maybe mixed in there. I mean, it was pitiful. And the one thing we will not do is subject you to what happened on this play? I mean, the whole Baylor family right now is in kind of a state of disrepair, depression, whatever you want to call it. Although I'm a little bit, I don't know if I need to diagnose it as that, but it's not good. And we'll, I'll tell you what, we're going to start with Cowboys, and then we'll transition into some Baylor. There's some interesting things to get to. And by the way, on a Baylor-related type note, the breaking news coming down, it becomes official earlier today, that Art Briles is going to be a head football coach again in college football. I mean, I went to his thing in Waco the other day. He was going to ask about, would he still like to coach? And he just kind of played it down. I guarantee you, obviously, this was at least in the works. And I don't think this just came about over a period of a few days. And somebody he worked with when he was at the University of Houston is now the AD. I think the guy's name is Fite, maybe Kevin Fite, Fite, is at Eastern New Mexico State. And Scotty, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what town that is or what city that is in New Mexico. We can certainly look that up. I can tell you the mascot is the Greyhounds. I do think Baylor brought in a backup quarterback from there at some point, and I think there have been other quarterbacks who've played fairly well in the transfer portal that came out of Eastern New Mexico State. But he is going to be, I always thought if he had any chance at all, it was like Mike Leach or somebody that didn't mind all the backlash, bringing him in to be like an offensive coordinator, or even maybe an analyst on his son-in-law's staff. He's got a son at TCU. He's got a son-in-law at Mississippi State. I thought I would take something like that. He is the head coach at Eastern New Mexico. Now, I've been in touch with Art, and he did say, give him a couple days, and he, come on the show. Now, I don't want to bet the house on that because Art is, I would say my relationship with Art is fine. Art's trust of the media in general and how things would be taken, whatever he says, he'll have to do a news conference. And boy, some of that will be out there. But yeah, I think we may pop Art on. It's kind of an interesting week to do it, Thanksgiving week. I think, Scotty, if I've interpreted correctly, what our bosses are thinking here at Rogue Media Network, you and I may not have shows Thursday and Friday. I think the rest of the week we'll probably be doing our thing. Will we go the full bore? We'll go full energy. There may be a couple of days this week we say we might not make it to the finish line till 3:00. I don't know. We'll just see. Today is kind of feels like one of those days. I've got a lot to say, but I'm also I do not mind telling you my attention is the Baylor Bears are playing during our show, and the men are playing Creighton The women did get a win. It took a great play by our friend. Her last name is spelled Deng. I believe you say Dong, is how you pronounce our last name. She took a ball with the game on the line and made the most gorgeous move and play and saved the Bears, because that would have been horrible. Back-to-back losses. That loss to Iowa was, again, it's respectable because Iowa's a great program, but the way it happened was ugly. Horrible shooting. They played good defense. Iowa couldn't hit anything either, but it was a bad. But the Bears are going to find out who they are early in the season, because Doug McDermott. Wait, what's Doug? Doug's the son. What's this McDermott's name? Anyway, Coach McDermott, Dougie McBuckets was his son. Baylor once beat them in a NCAA regional. Greg McDermott is this guy's name. Sometimes I just have to just kind of think, let the fog clear. And then the good news is it's all up there, but just sometimes I have to kind of think for a second. Greg McDermott. And by the way, that started when I was about 32 years old. All right. So it's not like, oh my, is Mosley having some things go on? No, this has been around for about 20 years. But the good news is it's all up there somewhere. Sometimes I do need, though, to lean on the young mind of one Scotty Swingler, who's with us as always today. And he's been hard at work putting some things together, all kinds of graphics we have for you. Scotty's got some beautiful graphics that'll display just sort of the Baylor coaches over the last 10, 20 years. We'll take a peek since the dawn of the new age, since 2000, at some of these coaches, and we'll react to some of that. And again, some of this breaking news that we have coming in, we're going to keep a close eye on the Lane Kiffin situation, because Lane, they're going to let him focus on the Egg Bowl. And then I think by Saturday, we might need a decision from Lane. Florida, LSU, will he stay at Ole Miss? What's that contract going to look like? What's it going to look like? Who's going to be the interim coach for Ole Miss? I was up there talking to an Ole Miss guy at the Cowboys game yesterday, and he told me who it would be. I'm trying to think now. That's an interesting situation. Okay, but let's start today. 17 minutes into the show, but let's start with Cowboys. That was really something. Down 21-0. We've all seen that thing play out. It just seemed like a long slog, and were they going to do something? They finally hit back and got it to 21-7 at the half, but everybody's just like, nah, it's not going to happen. At halftime, Scotty, I sat down with old friend Sal Powell. Sal Paolantonio was in town for ESPN. He's everywhere with Philadelphia. Sal was a little down, and I didn't understand what was going on. Sal lost a friend. He found out, sadly, during the game, during the first half. So part of what we did is what you do, Scotty, with your buddies in the media or your buddies in general out there in life. You just, Tim Calishaw and I just sat with him going into the third quarter and let him talk for a little bit about his friend and a tough deal what Sal Powell was dealing with. But we were also, Sal Powell said on a football note, he said, this thing is not over. And we looked at Sal Powell and we said, it kind of is. It's 21-7. Obviously, the Cowboys can't stop anybody. Jalen Hurts can get anything he wants. A.J. Brown's getting a ton of targets. They went deep on Devontae Smith on that one play. Cowboys can't cover. They can't stop these guys. And then, Scotty, the unexplainable happened. The unbelievable happened. And that was, now we won't count that final. Eagles knelt on the ball. That kneeling took place at the end of the first half, all right? So we're not going to count that as a real drive, all right? The next 7 drives, they yielded 0 points. How in the world did the Cowboys defense step up and keep the team in the game and preserve the right to come back? Because it's not like the Cowboys offense. Think about the first half. You got Turpin lines up the backfield. Why are you doing that? He's 145 pounds, about a 150-pound kid, and you're trying to run him back there like he's like he's a tailback. I mean, like he's Adrian Peterson. Let's put the tiny little man back there. Despite Javonte Williams running the ball great, let's put the little man back there, hand him the ball, and he comes through the line. He coughs it up. I mean, he had some weirdness in that game. He did have one great play in the center of the field where he took off for about 45 yards, so let's give him that. But that was a weird game. One time he called for a fair catch, and then he took off running after he called for the fair catch. Strange game for the young man. You had that play. You had Dak down there in the first half trying to get the Cowboys in it. Here they are. Okay, maybe the comeback is started. Down 21-0. Dak down there on the goal line. They're first and goal. They were at least second and goal. I think first and goal. They're down there on the 1, maybe second and goal. And Guyton, false start. Guyton was just in another world. He gets hurt in that game. And honestly, Cowboys kind of caught a break because he was playing poorly. And he had a tripping penalty. That's the stuff Flozell used to do. Flozell used to make some of the Justin Tuck and some of the players so mad, reaching out that big leg and tripping people, hurting people. That's the kind of stuff he used to pull. And Guyton reached out there. He got beat. He reached out there and tripped somebody. So anyway, he gets hurt. Nate Thomas comes in. But Dak down there from, second and third and goal on the 6-yard line tries to fit the ball in there and leaves it behind the guy. I think that was CD out there. And Reed Blankenship picks that ball off. I mean, there were so many times it felt like, they lost the game. Okay, they lost that opportunity. One came really late. They'd come all the way back. They get down there, and instead of going up 24-21, they go for it down there. They don't get it. Another play after the punch out, they get down there, and they don't. I mean, it is time. I mean, obviously the Lions had gone for it like 5 times the week before against the Eagles and not got it on any of them. And it's almost like the Cowboys didn't learn any of that. Early first possession of the game, they're on their own 45-yard line. They're like, let's go. Didn't get it. So Cowboys, I mean, really, it felt like the whole time, Scotty, should have lost that ball game, and they found a way. And they get the ball back. Now, how did they get the ball back at the end? Well, Oso Odighizuwa goes back there. It's like 3rd and 2. I mean, a very manageable situation for the Eagles. They drop back to pass, and Odighizuwa tracks him down. Quinnen played great. Overshone was good against Saquon. I mean, Saquon had his moments in this game, but he had the huge – Sam Williams had the punch out. I believe Kenneth Murray recovered that one. And then, of course, the Cowboys had that great special teams play. And every college and high school coach and every coach is going to be showing their team that play. Because Elijah Clark, undrafted rookie, number 38, I've seen him around. I don't know much about him. He comes down as the gunner, and they're just killing. I mean, they're just crushing him. They knock him down to the ground. He keeps getting up. They're just almost look like a bullying type situation. They're just completely just hammering this poor kid, and he kept coming. And he got all the way down there. And if that sucker doesn't make the play on the ball carrier, Marquise Bell goes high, Clark goes low, and ball comes out of there, and the Cowboys recover. Of course, they don't score, but there's still huge moments in that game. And then the Cowboys get the big sack from Osa Odighizuwa, and they win the game. Now, Scotty, we after the game, Jerry always is there. It's crazy getting down there in typical Cowboys fashion. They've given the media like the same elevator as like all the fans coming down from the suites. So you're desperately trying to get down there to do your job, and you can't get on an elevator because all the fans are on the same elevator. So now they've been sending us on a freight elevator, and it holds a lot of people, but it also holds like all the food and everything. So you're on there crowded around. I mean, again, there are people that have it worse in life than the reporters who cover the Dallas Cowboys. I'm just painting a picture for you. And they put us on a freight elevator. We get down there. So I go racing around because Jerry's already started talking. So I could let you hear all of what Jerry had to say, but I don't think that's the best use of our time because we got a lot to hit today. And we're trying to kind of keep up with the Bears in this Baylor-Creighton game, and I want to see what's going on there. And I was relieved to see, Scotty, that it doesn't look like Creighton starting a center at 2 forwards and 3 guards. Usually, every time I've ever gone up against Creighton or remember us playing them, they've got some big 7-footer. Last year it was Kalkbrenner. They generally have some big man who is incredibly tough to stop, and that did not seem to be the case today. Bears and Creighton playing as we speak over on True TV. I'm not trying to send anybody away. I almost also aware that a lot of people watch our show once it gets archived, so I understand. If you're watching our show later today and you're watching the Baylor game live, I get it. It's over there on True TV, and you can check some of that out. All right, this was, though, I had a little back and forth. You'll see me kind of standing back there behind Jerry. Why am I always back there? Am I trying to get on TV? The answer is no. The truth is that's the best way I can get back there and actually get my phone in position to capture Jerry audio. And now, why do I have sunglasses on even now? But in those, well, because when I don't, you see me doing like weird stuff with my eyes and making the craziest faces. The sunglasses give me the best chance to sort of look like a normal human, although that's not normal human behavior, okay? There's some things you just can't explain in life. Here is kind of my back and forth after the game, and I'm kind of trying to quiz Jerry on what did he think when the Cowboys is 21-21, it's 4th down, all they got to do is go out there, and with about 3 minutes left, they can take a 24-21 lead. What did he think about the Cowboys deciding to go for it instead of taking the field goal, which would have put them up 24-21?
We could have hoped for.
And what were you thinking when you didn't take the field goal down there, when you went for it on 4th down, 21-21? What was your thought in that moment with that decision?
When we didn't make it, I wish we had made the field goal. I'm not kidding. I thought, well, I guess there is a choice, but the minute we didn't make it, I certainly thought the coach made a bad decision. And I say that smiling. Of course, we all knew that unless we were at the end of the ball game, it was going to take more than a field goal to win this thing, unless they didn't let them have the ball again. I believe that. Everything we saw out there would indicate that. So I'm good with the call. All right, guys.
Okay. And then, of course, Scotty, which I didn't share with our audience, there was another like 5-6 minutes. And then there's some guys, what'll happen down there is you kind of see people with media passes that you've never seen in your life, which is fine. Again, it's not like I'm a security guy. I'm not checking, but they were on the outside of the little rope where we're interviewing Jerry. Once the cameras went away, there were about 4 of us who kept talking to Jerry for a little bit. We walked him to where he gets on an elevator to go back up to his suite and have whatever kind of post-game celebration and visit with family and all that kind of stuff. And there were these guys that with like Scottish accents, or I don't know where they're from, Irish, wherever they're from, they started asking him about Post Malone and all this stuff, and I don't know. They were like shouting questions. So anyway, it's always interesting, never dull moment with Jerry. Now, Scotty, you and I both know, and Scotty's the ultimate when it comes to the Cowboys. It still doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. I think Scotty and I going into this game, though, were kind of like, you know what? Interesting against the Raiders. Kind of fun to watch those new guys play. You beat the Eagles. It just starts to kind of, maybe it's kind of interesting. Now, Chiefs, who should have gotten beat, Chiefs were down 20-9 against the Colts, come back and win that game in overtime and beat the Colts 23-20. I think that gets the Chiefs to 6-5. Here they come in to play the Cowboys team that I don't know, Scotty, if the Cowboys had fallen to 4-6-1, you just been like, okay, yeah, we're all going to go out there. We'll have a nice Thanksgiving. We'll go watch a game. It'll be fun to see Patrick Mahomes back in the area, near where he grew up. But this feels different. Cowboys back to 500. Chiefs one game above 500. The Chiefs are not, they're good, but they're not a juggernaut. Would I bet on the Chiefs to win this game? I would. But after the Cowboys erasing a 21-point deficit, the way the defense is playing with Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, I thought Overshown specifically did a nice job with Saquon. Several of those times, Scotty, I'm sure you saw it too. There were moments where I thought, oh gosh, Saquon's got him in space, and then Overshown would make the tackle. You're seeing more from Siobhan Ravel. You're seeing more. Now, there were some bad moments. Jalen Hurts was down there around the goal line and made about 3 people miss. And Donovan Wilson was one of them. But I'd still rather have, you have Malik Hooker out there, Donovan Wilson. You have your full complement of defensive players. I did see Quinnen get hurt. Saquon put a nice shot on his ribs. He chipped him on one play. And I forget, college, there's a real specific rules where you can't hit someone like when they're engaged. I can't remember exactly if the NFL rules are a little different on that. But, Quinnen was trying to fight a tackle, I believe it was. And the running back, Saquon, just took a shot at his ribs. And he came back and he played and he sore. And I don't even know what the deal is with the ribs, but Quinnen Williams played through the pain. And I was impressed with a lot of things the Cowboys did, and including on the offensive side of things, even when they were down 21-7, like they kept running the football, and it helped the play action. They're really good in the play action game. And then they started to victimize the Eagles secondary. But I think running the ball and continuing to have that threat was very, very important. And Javonte Williams ended up having a really nice game. I think he ran for 80 to 90 yards. And then Scotty, Malik Davis, number 43, some really good runs in that game, including in the fourth quarter when he got loose. Man, he looks quick. He looks fast. Malik Davis was activated. I don't know, whatever happened to the kid that was supposed to help him so much, Jaden Blue from University of Texas. I hadn't seen nor hide nor hair of him, but pretty good ability by the Cowboys to continue that. All right, we got Baylor versus Creighton. We got a lot of Baylor. We got Art Briles is now a head coach in college football. I know there are Baylor people. We're like, please bring him back. That was never going to happen. Okay, let's do something that Art used to always talk about. We believe in reality. And I remember Ian McCall saying that at Baylor University. I'm trying to remember. He used to say Baylor. At Baylor, we believe in reality. And that was one thing I remember Ian saying to me. And the reality of it is Art can come back and maybe even be right there on the edge of campus and have a nice visit, and we can welcome him back. And there may be a time when Art's old and gray, and he's kind of getting there, that he could come back on the Baylor campus or come to a game or something, and maybe, who knows. But Art Briles is a coach in college again. We'll have more on all that. And then just more reaction now that I've had more conversations. Baylor got killed the other day. Water is wet. What's new? They got crushed in the second half. We cheered for them like crazy. If you think we're the kind of media people, by the way, and I don't usually like to admit that I cheer for things, but when it's my alma mater, and Scotty and I were out there in that first half, and his friend Billy shows up, and then I recognized from my, guy used to be over at the Baylor Club, an old friend of mine. I was like, dadgummit, I know that guy. Very, very nice guy. But we were rooting for the Bears like crazy. And then just the cratering that occurred in the second half, extremely unfortunate. And it's extremely unfortunate what's happening with the program right now. We'll react to all of that as we do. We're live on Twitter. And then all our Twitter audience, you need to go over. And I need you to subscribe. Davis, I know you've been watching a lot. I'm afraid it's hurting your legal practice there. You're watching too much Mosley. But we always encourage I even think Chase out there in Marshall, Texas, has discovered the Mosley Show. Guys, sign up though on the YouTube, for goodness sakes. You go to the YouTube channel, hunt for Matt Mosley Show, sign up, and then you can get in the little comments there. And you can say, hey, Mosley, here's what I think about Jerry, or here's where I think the Cowboys are going, or here's what you do. But and we'd love to, we'll feature that on the show. We need to hear from our sponsors. Thank you, CNB. Thank you for your unbelievable patronage and your partnership. We appreciate you. Thank you, Ascension Providence. Thank you for our lawyers. When it's us, we always need to have a team of lawyers ready. And Cherry Johnson, Siegmund James are always on hand in case I say something that we may need defense on. No, those guys from a plaintiff's attorney standpoint, and some of these truck driving cases out there, and some of the stuff that happens to people, the judgments they get, unbelievable. And they're just great at what they do. And they've also been extremely loyal to the Mosley Show over the years. And then Scott James was just named as something big here recently. Oh yeah, over at Baylor, he's a fellow over there now, like a Jaworski fellow they call it. And if you know that last name, no, I'm not talking about Ron, I'm not talking about Jaws, I'm talking about Leon Jaworski, one of the most famous lawyers of all time. Go look up Watergate and Jaworski. But anyway, and it's a famous part of the name on a famous law firm as well. But a Baylor lawyer back in the day. But Scott James, now a Jaworski fellow over there at the Baylor Law School. All right. It is and his wife's an accomplished, Leanne James, Leanne Guest James, very accomplished attorney, I might add. Has helped Baylor through some tough times as well. It is the Mosley Show. We continue on, and let's talk Baylor. Let's do it next.